Welcome to Oxsports Unleashed, Series 3 episode. I can't even remember. There's been so many. But welcome wherever you are, in your sheds, your jacuzzis, your hot tubs, wherever you are. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday evening. Unfortunately, not live tonight, but we're doing a pre-record for you. And hopefully we can use all our normal bits that we give you through the week, a normal goal show, uh, fixtures and league tables, etc. A little bit of rugby in there, a little bit of cricket, and a little bit of chat besides. So thanks for joining us again, and welcome. So I think without further ado, I'm going to go straight into Patrick Lock's amazing goal show. And here's the action from last weekend.
A lot of important games again this week as we head to the latter part of the season. Here are the goals that went in around the county. Ross Jenkins, Oxford City have hit some form in the latter part of the season. However, it's away from home that they've really fallen on their feet in recent weeks. An improvement to their home form was needed as Chorley visited Oxfordshire, and after a goalless first half, this moment of quality after the break from DJ Sturridge saw him deliver a pinpoint cross to Ewan Clark at the far post, who could barely miss as he put his side ahead on 50 minutes. However good his assist was, just minutes later Sturridge produced another moment of quality. Somewhat Cantona-esque, this superb effort on the turn was chipped towards the far post, clipping it on its way in to secure back-to-back wins for Jenkins, who was thrilled at his side backing up last week's win.
I thought a good performance on the road last week was really good. I said to the boys we need to back it up, and I said it previously in the week, we've got to back it up, and I thought today we did that. So we kept the same team. Sometimes it's that sort of like same team problem that you hope to replicate the same performance, and I thought the boys did that. So fair play and give the boys credit for that.
We've just seen one stunner, but how about this as well? Banbury earned a point against Bishop Stortford after two successive defeats. Their goal in this 1-1 draw came direct from a corner from Alex Worley. It was his first goal for the club, and he reflected on this with the Banbury media team after the game. Also left a little bit frustrated at Banbury not being able to take more from the match.
A bit disappointed. Better team on the day, played much better football, and we're the only team here today who wanted to win the game, really, you know. So yeah, disappointing not to get 3 points, but a point on the board is what it is. About time I scored. I've had a couple of close ones. Wouldn't say I meant it this time, but you know, we'll take it, and you know, like I say, we're going to next week now.
Tame, by their own admission, weren't at their best on Saturday, but still found a way to win, with Louis Walsh scoring this penalty late in the first half to put his side ahead. It was Rayners Lane who visited the ASM Stadium, and the visitors did find a leveller midway through the second half. But right on the stroke of 90 minutes, Charlie Stowe gave them a very, very important 3 points as he gratefully planted this ball across the keeper into the net to see them win. And obviously it's a very good trait as a football team to win games of football when you're not at your best. They were in action again on Tuesday night, and they picked up another huge win over Hadley to see them into the playoff positions. The goals came in the second half. The first as Louis Walsh was played through on goal. The initial shot was saved, but Harry Alexander reacted quicker to tap home the rebound to put his side ahead. Walsh would get his goal though, and made it 23 for the season as he beat the offside trap here to run through on goal, this time making no mistake one-on-one to secure the fine win for his side and see them up into the playoff positions. Elsewhere on Tuesday night, Banbury United were held to a goalless draw on the road in horrendous conditions at Kettering Town. While there were no goals scored by Banbury, there was one crucial moment up the other end, with Jack Harding saving this penalty to make it a very hard-earned clean sheet for the Banbury keeper. In the combined counties north, Ardley United picked up a hard-earned 1-0 win over Amersham Town, a result that manager Mark Massingham suggested was a very ugly result for his side chasing a playoff position.
Dreadful in certain aspects. So the weather was horrible, real strong crosswinds that did not help either team. They were well drilled. They were much better than us in terms of their shape and that. We just lacked a little bit of belief. We were comfortable without being good, if you know what I mean. We were probably too comfortable and a little bit sloppy in certain areas. But in truth, listen, when you win when you don't play well, that's a good sign.
Elsewhere in the combined counties north, Abingdon United picked up a 2-0 win over British Airways with goals from Finn Beckett and Freddie Dunham. Wallingford and Cromarsh drew 1-1 away at North Greenford United, and North Lee were edged out 1-0 at home to Reading City. In the Hellenic Division 1, Carterton were held to a 2-2 draw at home against Newent Town, while Clanfield were on the end of a 4-0 defeat to Brinscombe and Thrupp. There was one game on Wednesday which saw Kidlington host title-challenging Windsor and Eton at Yarnton Road, but Kidlington lost 2-1 there. As always, you can head over to the Lock Ryde Oxfordshire Football Podcast on Spotify and YouTube for a full roundup of football from around the county, a new episode each week. For now, though, we'll head back to Woodsy and Rollercoaster for more Oxsports Unleashed.
Thanks there to Patrick Locke and the Goal Show. Amazing piece of work as normal. So thank you to Patrick. And welcome to Rollercoaster Ride. Different. We're sort of alongside each other. I feel really quite naked because I feel I'm on the wrong side of you this week, Colin. That doesn't feel right. It's Ant and Deck gone wrong, so it's probably Deck and Ant. I don't know.
Well, I can assure you that none of us are naked, certainly not from below the waist anyway, because we only see the tops of us in this podcast. But yes, great to be with you, Darryl, as usual. We've got people behind the scenes, Patrick and Wes Spearman as well. And great news in Oxford. We've been trying to promote local grassroots sport and engaging with such a huge variety of decent sport. And there's some extremely good news from Chinnor Rugby Club, because if you've been following them in their highest ever level that they've ever played in, if you've been out there, it's quite a windy, windswept stadium. But Wes Spearman's got some news, because I think they've got a family benefactor that's going to cough up some cash, and they're going to have a new 5,000-seater stadium, which I think should be ready towards the end of next season. But fantastic news for them, isn't it, Wes?
Yeah, that's right, Colin. Yeah, good evening, everyone. And yeah, as you say, huge news coming from Chinnor this week with a new 5,000-seater stadium proposed to be ready for the end of next season. As you mentioned, a family benefactor is underwriting the whole cost, the whole project of it, which is quite something. And yeah, the club put a statement today. We remain committed to being a whole community club at all levels at the club that we have developed over the last 20 years. We are particularly proud that we are enhancing our community side to make further outreaches, and overwhelmed that the community have embraced our ambitions. The stadium will be available for community use and entertainment for local community benefit. There's a few too many communities, I think, in there in their statement. But yeah, it's fantastic news. And for a club as small as Chinnor, compared to, I think, Worcester are in the same league as them, and they have 20,000 seater stadium there. It's fantastic news, and certainly puts Chinnor on the map. They're punching above their weight, as you alluded to earlier, Colin. They're playing in their highest ever league. They're, as we say, one of the smallest clubs in the league, and they're comfortably mid-table. Have beaten some really, really competitive teams this season. So it's fantastic news that they're going to be able to bring this 5,000 seater stadium down to southeast Oxfordshire. But also more good news from Chinnor is that Nick Easter, the director of rugby there, he signed on for another couple of seasons until the end of the 2026-27 season. And he's been a real sort of purveyor of this project that's been going on at Chinnor, and has brought huge amounts of success to the club, took them into the championship, and looks like they'll be staying there fairly comfortably, we hope, for the rest of his tenure there, or at least until the next couple of seasons. So it's really, really good news for Chinnor, and it caps off quite a good week for them, because they had quite a high scoring win last weekend against Coldie at home at Kingsley Road, and it was 48 points to 36 there. So quite a few tries being scored, and we can show you those highlights now.
Dummy and go by Thomas Watson, and out the back it goes, and that will be first blood to the home side. Brodie Robinson. This Coldie ship towards the try line. Chinnor's defence holding out so well, but they've got to regroup, but they're unable to do so. Really good chase on by, that's Charlie Hyde. A little grubber through, but it's managed to stay in touch, and Charlie Hyde, absolutely incredible. Again, dangerous position. This is where they like to be. And that is why. That is exactly why. Will Robinson. Brilliant breakaway and a great hard line. Getting ever closer to that try, and Ding dong battle indeed. With the ball on the edge and just waiting and pouncing to give Coldy yet another try in this game. High by JJ Dickinson. Still they truck on. Rukadze. And over goes Isaiah Watson. And you're doing superbly well, and Coldy trying their best now as Chinnor peel round the corner. Leading at the back is Chris Moore, and the arm goes up from the referee to signal that try. Of course, Chris Moore at the back of that one, leaning on. Tom Watson in the back there as well, and the arm outstretched to indicate try number 5 for Chinnor. Now with Hodkinson trying to get over the line. They've got so much space, and it's a walk-in eventually for Callum Ridgway. That time looks like Alan Walker. On to Scott Hall. He's short. Pascoe going, showing, going, scoring. Excellent cut. And Campbell. Brilliantly tackled. On the line. A few metres out, and there is Will Cave. Ball out. Through the hands it goes. Wilkinson. Chipped across field. Out wide. Plenty of space. Wonderful try. Whistle to signal the end of this game. And what a game it has been.
So very good news from Chinnor, both on the pitch and behind the scenes as well. Right, that takes us neatly into the full results show.
So let's have a quick look at what this week's action has done to the tables. Oxford United have dropped back to 23rd in the Championship after their defeat at Southampton. They're certainly not out of it, though, with Portsmouth just 1 point above them out of the relegation zone, and still plenty of games to go, so you still thought that survival is very much in the question there. Oxford City have moved 4 points clear of the drop zone in National League North after their back-to-back wins. Although Hereford do have games in hand still on them, but they've got 4 losses in a row, but points on the board are looking good for City. However, they still do have to play the 3 teams directly below them later in the season, which could become pivotal come the end of the season. Southern League Premier Central and Banbury United are very safe in 10th place currently. They've had a sticky run of form and haven't won in 4, so a playoff push may be out of the question now, but still a month to go and a lot to play for still. It was a really successful week for Tame United, and that's moved them into the playoff positions in 4th place in the division now above Biggleswade. Still a tight battle in there though, with Hertford a few points below them, but it's looking good for Tame to put right the agony of missing out last season. And in Division 1 South, Didcot's very safe too. Jamie Heeby did mention in his interview about them perhaps still just about being in a relegation battle. There's still a fair few points clear of that though, so I'm sure a couple of wins would certainly take them out of that battle come the latter end of the season. In combined counties north, Wallingford and Crowmarsh have dropped to 5th in division now, and Ardley United is closing them down 4 points adrift and 4 games in hand, but just 1 place behind. Kidlington couldn't beat title favourites Windsor and Eton and remain in 9th in the division. Milton United have slipped into the bottom half, but Abingdon United's good form has seen them up to 12th, and Northlea's win against Amersham Town has seen them up to 18th and out of the relegation zone as it stands. In the United Counties South, Easington Sports still a point above the drop zone, with Brooks St Michael losing twice over the past week to stay behind them. In the Hellenic Division 1, Wantage is still very much safe in the playoff spots. They may be overtaken to second by Bewdley Town, who are just a point behind, but otherwise there's a massive gap between them and the sides below. Into the bottom half, Castleton have picked up 4 points in this week, so they've put a bit of distance between them and the drop zone. However, Clanfield and Tame Reserve still occupy the bottom 2. Into Women's National League South, Oxford United is still 4th. There's a big gap for them to close to 3rd though, so a lot of work there for them to do. In Division 1 South West, Abingdon United are very safe in 6th position. They've got a 5-point gap above them and a 4-point gap below, so not very much in danger in their current position. And finally, in Women's Southern Region Women's Football League Premier South, Oxford City currently sitting 7th on 16 points. And with that, we'll head back to Woodsy and Rollercoaster for some more Oxsports Unleashed.
So that takes us on to our normal fixture focus with Lock and Ryde, or as I like to call them, Romeo and Juliet.
What would the fixture list look like if it doesn't get flooded or frozen off this weekend for local football fans to go and attend, Patrick?
Well, the first one is that there's no game for Oxford United, so that probably hasn't started off the fixture focus particularly well when we're talking about hopefully games to be on. But it's international break this next weekend, isn't it? So no game for Oxford United. Another big game for Oxford City, they all are at the moment. They host Kidderminster Harriers to the M Group Stadium for 3 o'clock kickoff. Going to be very tough for Ross Jenkins' men with Harriers in 3rd position in the league. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be a big crowd there because Kidderminster always travel pretty well. So get yourselves down there. Especially Oxford United fans who are looking for things to do this coming weekend.
I think it's non-league football day as well,
It is indeed. And I know Andy Gate was a little bit nervous when Kidderminster were in FA Trophy quarter-finals because it's the semi-final weekend this weekend and he was desperate to not lose a non-league day fixture. So they got knocked out to... I've committed to seeing who they went out to now. I've completely forgotten. But they went out to the games going ahead. It's all that needs to be said. But
I think at the moment, the way City are playing, and you think, I hope DJ Sturridge is on real form. To have a striker in form is worth anything at any level, any club, I think. So let's look forward to a really good game there. All right, what else is happening that weekend they can look forward to on the day?
Yeah, it's a very long trip for Banbury United. They head to the depths of Suffolk to face Leiston in the Southern League Premier Central. Tame are at home if you fancy a trip up there to the ASM Stadium. They hosting Ware in Southern League Division 1 Central. Didcot Town on the road. They travel to Frome Town in Division 1 South. And then on Sunday, Oxford United host #United in Women's National League South. Aberdeen United face bottom of the league Worthing in Division 1 Southwest. And Oxford City are without a game. So that's what's coming up for you this weekend.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Let's hope the weather does hold and that Ardley don't have even more of a picture pile up of this hopeful. Or if you're an Oxford United fan listening to this, please go out and support a non-league club because I'm sure they'll be only too pleased to receive you. Thanks to Patrick Lock. I'm Colin Ryde. That's what happened last weekend. We look forward to this weekend and more Oxfordshire football. Thanks for listening and bye for now.
Thanks there to Romeo and Juliet, Lock Ryde. And if you haven't listened to their podcast, rounding up last weekend's football from around the region, please do subscribe to the Spotify and listen to it back. It's a really good show, and yeah, it's well worth a listen. So I'm going to hand over to Colin again.
Yeah, indeed. So, and I should just say that we've got part 2 coming up, a fantastic interview with a young lass called Ellie Noble. Started out her football career, I think, with Oxford United ladies, then went down to Lewis with a fantastic name of their ground called the Dripping Pan. A little bit of local knowledge there while she was at university. I think she then went to, I think it was either Crystal Palace or QPR, and now is plying her trade down at Plymouth Argyle. Here is part 2, Darryl's conversation with young Ellie Noble.
And the season for you is going quite well. I see 19 games, 11 goals scored. And I've seen a couple of crackers that you've scored from outside the box. So going well for you.
Yeah, it has. It's been nice. I think obviously that season last season at Blackburn, it was difficult, and we were sort of playing very park the bus football. It was a low block. It was trying not, we were playing against internationals and stuff. And so I didn't really get on the ball. I couldn't really express myself in that sense. And then dropping down a league, I think I probably had to like swallow my pride a little bit and be like, well, if I think I'm good enough, I need to show it. And it's just been nice to just, I mean, some of those goals I don't remember, but they just happened. And I don't know, I guess maybe that's just me playing with freedom and having fun. And yeah, it's the best way to be. So I have really enjoyed it. I never thought I'd move to Plymouth, I can tell you that.
Way down.
Yeah, it's a long way out. Yeah. But it's been a really good experience, to be honest. Like, I've loved it.
Good stuff. Great stuff. And you alluded to actually the professionalism at Crystal Palace, and I sort of always interested in the coaching in all forms of sport. But what's that actually look like? Has it changed from club to club? Has there been real sort of highlights with different managers and coaches?
Yeah, it definitely varies. I think that Palace, the time I was at Palace, the competition was really high in terms of the players you're playing with. It was huge learning curve in terms of, I always felt like I'd probably been one of the better players. And so you always just think, if you're out the team, I'll just try a bit hard and I'll get back in the team. But what are you going to do when everybody's good? And that was a difference, and that was a gap that like you have to catch up with. But I think just the quality of the training sessions we had such a good team, especially in my position. And I think as well, just the coaching, so much of it was obviously just about winning, getting over the line. It was, we want to play good football, but obviously winning is the most important thing. And I think that second season where they won the league, it was so interesting just to almost be like a fly on the wall with it, because there wasn't really much talk about winning the league. However, it was just an acknowledgement that we just had to be in it, had to be in that run-in to even stand a chance. However, there just wasn't talk about winning the league. It was all on the process. It wasn't on the outcome. And that was definitely a lesson I'd learned. If you're chasing something, is that if you keep saying you want to do this, you want to do this, you want to do this, you end up getting lost, kind of focusing on the outcome. but yeah, just even though, to be fair, Crystal Palace, the facilities were amazing. So I was obviously rehabbing my ACL there, and I was very, very lucky, because had it been anywhere else in the women's game, I think it would have been a lot harder. But yeah, just facilities wise, obviously coaching, just the standards are really high, but just there's so many other coaches. So, you have physios, you have strength and conditioning coaches, you have psychologists, you have everything. You have a nutritionist. The food's amazing. It's just completely different.
Amazing, amazing. Really interesting, Ellie. That we obviously, I think the last time we saw you, you had gone through the concussion situation, which was obviously quite a worrying time for you, and I know you had a lot of support at that stage. How's that gone since that event happening? Is it all sorted now? No problems, or do you still have to go back from time to time to do whatever you need to do?
Yeah, it's a weird one, because I think there's like the nature of an injury, or like a big injury, is like the side effect of the injury. Say, for example, you tear your ACL, you're going to have a sore knee, and then the psychological effect of your injury. And I think a concussion, it's so bizarre, because you can't visibly see that you've had a concussion. So I think it's I've never experienced an injury like it, and so I definitely learned a lot about myself, and things like that. I struggle with migraines often, so that's just kind of dealing with it as and when. But I think the reality of it was, I was after the concussion happened, I was struggling mentally in terms of the impact of receiving that injury. But then I was also struggling mentally in terms of dealing with the fact that I wasn't playing, I was out of action. And I think that did take me quite a while. Like when I was rehabbing my ACL, I spoke to a psychologist, and she put me in touch with I think you call him like a therapist. And we really worked through everything that happened. And I didn't quite have maybe a good enough appreciation for the effects, maybe injury or something that's maybe traumatic is probably being too dramatic, but something that sort of is a big event in your life. And I think going into the rehabbing the ACL, dealing with setbacks like, say, the Blackburn situation, I was best placed to deal with all those things because of the experiences I'd had dealing with that concussion, and knowing how to deal with setbacks and or things that are out of my control. And so it was definitely a difficult period. It was probably one of the hardest periods I've ever had to go through. However, having had the opportunity to see a specialist and be able to sort of almost rewire how you see that event in your life, was really helpful. And now it's just part of me. Like, it's so many things happen. Injuries are part of sport, and unfortunately, life isn't fair, and sometimes things out of your control happen, and it's just about accepting that and moving on.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think traumatic is a too bad a word there. I think that is the word. It is a real, concussion is a real thing. It's a lot more prevalent than it has been in sport for a long time, and that they are sort of looking after sports people a lot better than they used to. So I think that's one of the good things, in fairness, of how they deal with that situation.
Okay, thanks to Darryl Woods and Ellie Noble there. We'll have, I think, part 3 and that very interesting interview, because Darryl himself is a cricket coach, and he talks about very well about different coaching techniques and things, and how you deal with adversity, injuries, etc. In sport. Right, talking of sport and cricket, because the sun is starting to shine, and you were shining in an England shirt and hobnobbing with cricketing greats, weren't you, Darryl?
Well, I had an interesting day at the Performance Centre, the ECB Performance Centre in Loughborough, for an England over 60s trial. And I think some surreal moments for the day was actually bowling in one net when a certain captain of England, Ben Stokes, was bowling in the other. There was quite a lot of similarities, I have to say. We both bowl right-handed. We both bat left-handed. And that's about where the similarity ends, to be fair. He was a little bit quicker than me, and probably hits the ball slightly harder. only just. But it was great. He came out, had a photograph with the lads, and it was great to see him training hard at the performance centre there. It was a really good day. We wish him all the best, especially after the review has come out this week. And obviously, he's still going to be England captain, which I think, bottom line for me, is the right decision. And I think he does bring out the best in the players around him. Whether the other staff should have remained, we'll wait and see. But I'm quite happy that Ben Stokes is still leading the troops in an England shirt into 2026 with their first Test match in June. Will be interesting to see how they go and whether they do change the system and whether they do change the personnel slightly. It will be very, very interesting. And whether a certain young James Coles may figure, who knows? I think he'll probably be more in the T20 franchise for England, but who knows? We'll see when that squad is announced. So it's quite exciting times for there. From an England trial perspective, I did as much as I could, Colin. I left a lot of myself there, that's for sure, because I am absolutely hanging today. I did do quite a lot of bowling, and it was a great experience, great fun. Whether I've done enough is probably, I would say probably not. But who knows? Stranger things have happened. But I'm happy in the knowledge that I gave it my best shot. So, and it was nice to be asked in any case. So, all good. Great to be at the Performance Centre because it is an incredible centre for cricket. And a certain Gus Atkinson was there as well, doing no training whatsoever, just going out for a beer with Stokesy after his training session. So, good to see those guys on board. Met a young lad who's in my Oxfordshire under 18 side. He was there on work experience. Didn't know he was working there, so I had a little chat with him. And also a chap, Ali Jarvis, has been working for the ECB for I would say some 20 years. And he's been working at Loughborough for a while now, and it was nice to catch up with Ali, previously of Banbury Cricket Club. So lots of people, even somebody doing the social media stuff for England seniors is a mate of Blake Bint, so it can't be all that bad, to be fair. So great day, very tiring, good banter. And good food, I have to say. The food was excellent. So they looked after us quite well, Colin.
I'm glad to hear it. And you're flying the flag for Oxfordshire cricket. And we got some good news, people. I'll bow to the cricket experts here, your good South West Spear and the Patrick Lock, because Ollie Armstrong's on good form at the moment.
Yeah, that's right, Colin. And Oxford Downs, Ollie Armstrong. I feel like I should hand over to Woodsy for this, but he's giving a double fist bump. But he's playing his trade up at Durham UCC, Durham University, who are in action in a friendly against Warwickshire this week. Took 3 wickets in Warwickshire's first innings and some quite big wickets as well. There's Alex Davies, the outgoing captain of Warwickshire's, played recently for England Lions as well. Young up and coming batter Hamza Sheikh got in for 9 actually, and bowled England's Dan Mousley for a single, 1 of 2 balls for Dan Mousley, and clean bowled him as well. So some great stuff from Ollie Armstrong. And Darryl, you'll be able to tell us a little bit about Ollie and where he's come from and his sort of skill set. Is he first teamer for Oxford Downs?
Yeah, he is first teamer at Oxford Downs. He had a bit of a blip last season. I think a bit of confidence was missing from his game. I think he started the season quite badly for the club, in all honesty, and we thought he would end up playing a few games in the twos to restore that confidence. But we gave him a go in the pink ball because we thought it was in the red ball, because we thought it was the pink ball that was causing him the problems. But no, he came back strong, and of course in one of the last games took several wickets in the second half of the season. So his form was regained. He is somebody who works incredibly hard. And I know when he was younger, he used to do 14-minute planks. So a pretty strong individual because, 2-3 minute plank for me is about all I can muster. But he is incredibly fit and he's always down the nets. He's trying to work at his game always. What I noticed about some of the wickets there and when he's coming in, he looks quite smooth this year and the action looks robust. So, he's in trim, I would say. He's a proper fast bowler because he has got that attribute of being sort of tall and slim, if you like a lot of bowlers. So yeah, really excited that he started the season that well, and I'm just hoping that he can take that into the Home Counties Premier League and really make a mark. I did say this season would be his season 3 years ago, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I was right. So I wish Ollie all the best, and obviously, being a little bit biased, I hope he continues that form into the season. But good lad, doing well.
Okay, so more good news for Oxfordshire cricket then, Darryl. Thank you very much indeed for that bit of insight into another Oxford Down success story. And before we go, I should just mention again on the podcast that this weekend I was had mixed emotions. I was down at Southampton to watch Southampton versus Oxford, and you had a bad weekend as a Gooner, as an Arsenal fan, didn't you? An even worse weekend for Patrick Lock, who's a Tottenham fan. I'll be honest with you here. My situation is that I would rather that Southampton didn't go up this season. I desperately want Oxford United to stay up. I should have my hometown man, Southampton, but I've been in Oxford longer than I've actually been alive in Southampton, as it were. So my dream situation would be maybe Arsenal do win something. Okay, so don't forget it's Southampton versus Arsenal coming up in a couple of weeks' time. So they're still in the cup there. Probably Southampton could be a dangerous side. Don't know, but there we go. That could be another interesting weekend for you, Darryl. But let's hope that Arsenal do win something to make Darryl smile. Okay, as he goes into the football cricket season. Patrick, I think he should actually. I'd like to see Tottenham come down and Southampton stay in the Championship along with Oxford United because we all want to go to the new Tottenham Stadium, sit there in the press box and have some good food like you had at the ECB Centre of Excellence, Darryl. So that's what I'm looking forward to next year. I had to mention that because at the moment, usually what happens is that Southampton lose, Oxford United lose, and Oxford City lose and have a very bad weekend. But you just have to know that there are sometimes people worse off than yourselves. And Patrick and Darryl sum those up in terms of football fans, don't you, Darryl?
Gutted. I thought we'd beat Man City in the cup. If I'm honest, we were all over them like a rash in the first half, but unfortunately didn't put the ball in the back of the net, and that's what the game's all about. So yeah, we can only be a bit critical of our sides at times, but they're playing some good football. I think they will win something inevitably this season. I did say it would be the Champions League. I think they're on course for the Premier League if we're brutally honest. But you never know. You just never know. They've got City in a month's time, so that will be a good rematch. I will say, I hate the situation with Tottenham because it is shocking. I mean, I was listening to their game at the weekend, and they were shocking. There just seems to be no get up and go there at the moment, and things are just not working for them. So I hope they do get out of it because I think the Premier League without Tottenham is it just doesn't sit well with me, to be fair. So and that's from a Gooner. So there you go. I'm sort of an armchair supporter anyway. So it's not the be all and end all for me. But certainly I'd like to see Tottenham stay in the Premier League if they possibly can. So yeah, we'll keep our fingers crossed for the Gunners for the rest of the season. What I should say at this point, if anybody wants to join our team for doing any editing or interviews or any camera work that you've done at Grassroots Sports, please do send it to us at our usual email address, oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. That's oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you, and we will use your clips. So yeah, please get in contact with us. It would be lovely if you did. So that just about wraps it up for this week. Our thanks to our producers, Wes Spearman and Patrick Locke, and for all the contributions today. And also my co-presenter, Colin Ryde, Rollercoaster Ride. Thank you very much indeed. And all to say really is to join us again next week, where we'll unleash some more Ox Sports. It's goodbye from now.